everybody, Trevor here, and happy belated 40th anniversary to Thomas and Friends. And speaking of which, this is my 40th unboxing video. And by popular demand, I'm going to review Bachmann HO-Scale Edward, since that's what most of you guys have voted for. Now, one interesting thing about Edward is that he's one of the very first characters created by the Reverend Wilbur Awdry, along with Henry and Gordon. And they all first appeared in the Three Railway Engines book from 1945. Yeah, this takes place before Thomas the Tank Engine, by the way, which came out in 1946. Another thing I like about Edward is his wise, kind, and helpful persona. And he helps the other engines too, including Gordon, who often gets stuck on Gordon's hill, and he has to push Gordon's express from behind. If you've been following me for a very long time, I've put Edward as number 2 in my top 3 favorite former Steam Team members video because of his wise, helpful, and friendly persona, as well as being number 2. Not to mention that he was one of the first engines created by the Reverend Wilbur Awdry himself, as I stated earlier. But enough chattering, let's open this box, shall we? Here we are, Edward the Old Blue Engine. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I love this model of Edward better than the Hornby version, because the Hornby version looks kind of odd to me. This one's more accurate to the TV show, particularly the classic model series. I especially like the 6 wheels on the tender, and I also like the bogie, even though it's a little flimsy, but that's okay, it still looks nice. And I especially love the red stripes, as well as his classic face. Yeah. Oh, and look, his firebox is not well detailed, just like the other engines. But that's okay, that doesn't stop me from giving this model a positive review. But before we give it a score, let's give it a test run, shall we? Some other interesting things that I forgot to mention earlier are that Edward is a medium-sized mixed traffic engine, just like James. And speaking of which, I put 2 Chosen trucks behind him, as well as 2 museum coaches. In other words, he can pull both coaches and freight cars quite easily. The only difference is that Edward is more friendly and much more wiser than James. All right, let's give him a test run, shall we? He runs really well so far, unlike Bo, who often derails sometimes. Uh-oh. Guess I didn't line up the tracks properly. But that's okay, he's still running well. So far. I'll have to fix the tracks later after this video. Go, Edward, go! And because Edward's Bachmann model looks miles better than his Hornby version, and that he runs better than Bo, I give this model like a 9.5 out of 10 stars. I highly recommend you pick him up if you're a huge fan of Edward in general. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are asking, how come you're not reviewing the Celebration Engines 5-pack yet as your 40th unboxing video? I mean, after all, Thomas and Friends has hit its 40th anniversary this year. Well, you see, I promised my viewers that I would review Bachmann Edward next, since that's what most of you guys have voted. And, yeah. Speaking of which, let's just say that my next unboxing video will revolve around one of the 2024 Wooden Railway items, whether it be the Celebration Engines 5-pack or that new set with Cranky the Crane. But I'm not going to promise to get them right now due to budgeting constraints. And besides, I got bills to pay, so I need to pay those off first. This is Trevor Davis signing off. And once again, happy 40th anniversary to Thomas and Friends. The TV show, that is. And I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing video as well.